The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Council headquarters shimmered as thousands of stars reflected on its surface. Inside, representatives from 317 advanced civilizations filled the grand chamber. The room buzzed with worried voices speaking, hundreds of different languages, all translated instantly by tiny devices in each delegate's ear. Ambassador Zix Thrall of the Arcanid Dominion sat rigidly in his seat. His forearms twitched nervously as he checked the readings on his neural implant for the 5th time. The data hadn't changed. It still showed the impossible. "Order! We must have order!" The Grand Speaker's voice boomed across the chamber. The blue-skinned elder tapped her ceremonial staff 3 times on the crystal floor. Slowly, the noise died down. "The reports are confirmed," she announced, her voice heavy. "The humans have officially rejected our invitation to peace talks." The chamber erupted again. In the Council's 40,000-year history, no species had ever rejected an invitation to join. It simply wasn't done. Ambassador Zix Thrall leaned toward his assistant, a younger Arcanid with bright green eyes. "This cannot be correct. Perhaps there was a translation error?" "No error, Ambassador," his assistant whispered. "They sent the message in 12 different galactic languages to ensure clarity. They explicitly decline membership in the Galactic Council and request that our ships maintain a distance of at least 1 light day from their solar system." Across the chamber, a tall, plant-like being rose to speak. Ambassador Thorna of the Sea. Phalanx Collective swayed gently as she addressed the council. "Perhaps these humans do not understand the benefits we offer. Technology, medicine, cultural exchange. No developing species has ever turned these down." "They understand perfectly," came a gravelly voice from the shadows. All heads turned to see Council Intelligence Director Krex step forward. The reptilian official rarely spoke at public sessions, making his words carry extra weight. "Our analysis shows they intercepted communications between our scout vessels. They know more about us than they should." A worried murmur spread through the chamber. Meanwhile on Earth, Admiral Helena Chen stood tall before the United Earth Defense Council. The large meeting room deep within the Rocky Mountains bunker was filled with military and civilian leaders from every major nation. "Ladies and gentlemen, I stand by my recommendation that we decline the Galactic Council's offer," Admiral Chen said, her voice firm. She was a compact woman in her 50s with short gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. "Their words promise peace. Their actions suggest otherwise." She gestured to her aide, who brought up a holographic display showing the solar system. Red dots appeared throughout the display, concentrated especially near Jupiter and Saturn. "These are alien vessels that our new quantum sensors detected. Over 300 ships, most of them hiding behind planets or moons, with energy signatures dampened. Not exactly the behavior of honest diplomats." The Chinese representative leaned forward. "Perhaps they are merely cautious, Admiral." "Perhaps," Chen nodded. "But our translation of their internal communications tells a different story. Dr. Rodriguez, please share your findings." A slim man with tired eyes stood up. "We've decoded approximately 26% of their communications. What we found is disturbing. They refer to Earth as Resource World 2317. They discuss standard integration protocols and cultural pacification techniques. One message explicitly mentioned the usual 50-year transition to full resource extraction." Silence fell over the room. The president of the African Union was the first to break it. "They come as conquerors, then, disguised as friends." Admiral Chen nodded. "Classic tactics. Nothing we haven't seen in human history. Offer gifts, establish dependency, then take control." The room erupted in voices until the Secretary General raised her hand for silence. "What about their technology? Our sources say they're thousands of years ahead of us. Can we really afford to anger them?" Admiral Chen's face remained calm, but her eyes flashed with determination. "Actually, we've learned something interesting about that. Dr. Okafor?" A woman in a lab coat stood, her tablet computer projecting images onto the main screen. "We've analyzed the debris from their scout ship that crashed in Nigeria last month. Their technology is impressive, yes, but it's a hodgepodge. pieces from different civilizations cobbled together. They're not innovators, they're collectors, and many of their systems are designed for compatibility rather than efficiency. She changed the display to show a comparison chart. We estimate that with focused effort, we could match many of their capabilities within a decade. They rely on quantity and variety, not quality. The Russian president frowned. Even so, we are outmatched now. Would it not be wiser to pretend to cooperate while we prepare in secret? Admiral Chen shook her head. Our psychological profile of their communications suggests they expect immediate compliance. Stalling would make them suspicious. Better to take a clear stand now and force them to reconsider their approach. The Secretary General looked around the room. We need to vote. All in favor of rejecting the Galactic Council's invitation? One by one, hands raised until the vote was unanimous. Very well, the Secretary General said. Admiral Chen, your plan is approved. We reject their offer and begin full preparations. Back in the council chamber, the emergency session had stretched into its 5th hour. Ambassador Zixthrail watched with growing concern as the tactical assessment was presented. Humans have an unusual development pattern, the military advisor explained. Most species focus on either biological or technological advancement. Humans pursue both simultaneously and adapt quickly. They've gone from primitive flight to basic space exploration in just over a century, Director Krex interrupted. More concerning is their history. They've developed through nearly constant conflict. Their art, literature, and philosophy are filled with stories of resistance against overwhelming odds. The Grand Speaker's face darkened. Recommendation? Standard Protocol 7 for resistant species. Director Krex replied without hesitation. Economic isolation, followed by limited technological demonstration of our superiority, then negotiation from a position of strength. Ambassador Zixthral felt uneasy. He had seen Protocol 7 applied before. It rarely ended well for the younger species. I suggest caution, he said, surprising himself by speaking up. Something about these humans feels different. His words were met with dismissive gestures from most council members. At Earth's unified military headquarters, Admiral Chen addressed the combined forces of humanity. Behind her, screens showed military units from around the world preparing for what might come. They expected gratitude, she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the room and to millions watching worldwide. They expected submission. She paused, looking at the determined faces before her. What they'll get is humanity. A cheer rose from the crowd as humanity prepared to stand its ground against the stars. 3 months had passed since Earth rejected the Galactic Council's invitation. The morning sun cast long shadows across the training facility hidden deep in the Ural Mountains. Inside, Javier Reyes looked at his reflection in the mirror and barely recognized himself. His once dark skin now had a light purple tint. His eyes were larger, with vertical pupils like a cat's. Small patches of fur covered his shoulders and forearms. The transformation wasn't perfect, but it might be enough to fool the Kelrathi. How do you feel? Dr. Okafor asked, checking his vital signs on her tablet. Strange, Javier admitted. His voice had a new raspy quality that matched Kelrathi speech patterns. But I'm ready. Dr. Okafor nodded. Remember, the surgical modifications will hold for 3 months. After that, the changes will begin to reverse. You need to be off their ship by then. Javier had been chosen for this dangerous mission because of his extraordinary gift for languages and pattern recognition. Before becoming a spy, he had been a professor of linguistics who could learn new languages in weeks instead of years. Now he was Earth's best hope for gathering intelligence on the Council's plans. Admiral Chen entered the room, her face serious. The Kelrathi scout ship Night Shadow will pass near Neptune in 6 hours. That's your window to get aboard. I won't let you down, Javier promised. 2 weeks later, Javier moved carefully through the corridors of the Night Shadow. He had successfully infiltrated the ship by posing as a maintenance worker from a Kelrathi colony. The feline aliens were suspicious by nature, but his disguise had held up under their scrutiny. Working in the lower decks gave him access to the ship's waste disposal system. where he had hidden a small device that copied data from the ship's network. Tonight he needed to retrieve that device from its hiding place and review what it had collected. The night cycle had begun, and most of the crew was asleep. Javier slipped into the waste processing room and removed a panel from the wall. Behind it was his data collector, blinking green to show it had gathered information. Finding a quiet corner, he connected a small screen to the device and began reviewing the files. Most were routine ship logs and crew reports, but then he found something labeled Integration Protocol Earth. His heart raced as he read the document. It detailed the Council's standard approach to difficult species, a step-by-step plan for cultural subversion, economic dependence, and eventually, complete resource extraction. Earth was classified as high value, high resistance, which meant they planned to strip the planet of all useful materials within a century. Even more disturbing was what he learned about the Kelrathi themselves. Images showed their homeworld before and after Council membership. Once a vibrant forest planet with thriving cities built into massive trees, it was now mostly mining operations and processing facilities. The proud warrior race had been reduced to serving as the Council's scouts and enforcers. As Javier copied the files, a noise in the corridor made him freeze. Footsteps approached the waste processing room. He quickly disconnected his device and replaced the wall panel, then pretended to be checking the waste filters. The door slid open. A Kelrathi officer stood there, his yellow eyes narrowing at the sight of Javier. Maintenance should not be scheduled during night cycle, the officer growled. Javier lowered his eyes submissively, as he had observed other low-ranking Kelrathi. Tuusim, apologies, Commander. Emergency filter replacement. The system was showing contamination. The officer sniffed the air suspiciously. Javier's heart pounded in his chest. Could the Kelrathi smell his fear? After a long moment, the officer grunted and left. Javier let out a silent breath. He needed to get this information back to Earth immediately. At her laboratory in Cape Town, Dr. Amara Okafor worked late into the night. Her team had been studying the wreckage of an alien scout ship for months, and they were finally making progress. Look, at this, she said to her assistant, pointing to the alien power core they had disassembled. The technology is advanced, but it's not as revolutionary as we first thought. This connection here, it's inefficient. Almost like they added it as an afterthought. Her assistant nodded. I've noticed similar patterns in the navigation system. It's like they took parts from different sources and put them together without fully understanding how they work. Dr. Okafor sat back, her mind racing. That's it. They're not inventors. They're collectors. They've been gathering technology from different civilizations and combining it. But they don't innovate themselves. She quickly typed notes into her computer. This changes everything. If we can understand the principles behind these technologies, we might be able to improve upon them rather than just copy them. A notification flashed on her screen. Encrypted data was coming in from Javier's mission. She opened the files and began reading, her expression growing more serious with each passing minute. Call Admiral Chen, she said urgently. She needs to see this now. On the Galactic Council station, the chamber of analysis was quiet except for the soft hum of quantum computers. The Council's top strategic AI, a massive crystalline structure that filled the center of the room, pulsed with colored light as it processed billions of data points. Grand Executor Vel Shah floated in on her gravity platform. Ancient even by Council standards, she had witnessed the integration of over 50 species. Report, she commanded. The AI's voice was neither male nor female, but somehow both, and neither at once. Analysis of human behavior patterns shows significant deviation from established models. Classification: divergent species. Vel Shah frowned. Divergent species were rare and often problematic. Explain. Most intelligent species evolve toward either pure cooperation or pure predation. Humans have developed along an unusual path. They are simultaneously cooperative and competitive, empathetic and aggressive, unified and individualistic. The AI displayed a series of human historical events, wars alongside medical breakthroughs, environmental destruction alongside conservation efforts, atrocities alongside acts of self-sacrifice. Their evolutionary pressures produced adaptable problem solvers with strong individual identity, yet capable of collective action. They do not fit standard templates. Velshaw's ancient eyes narrowed. Recommendation? Accelerate integration. Timeline. Apply maximum pressure. Current prediction models show 82% chance of successful integration if immediate action is taken. Delay increases probability of resistance. The Grand Executor nodded slowly. Prepare a full report for Council. Review. Prioritize Earth for immediate attention. As she left the chamber, Velshaw felt uncharacteristic doubt. In her long lifetime, she had seen a few divergent species. None had joined the Council peacefully, but none had possessed Earth's resources, either. The Council needed those resources regardless of the cost. Back on the Night Shadow, Javier had finished transmitting the critical data to Earth. As he made his way back to his quarters, alert sirens began blaring. All crew to stations, a voice announced over the ship's communication system. Set course for Earth. The integration timeline has been moved up. Prepare for Phase 2 operations. Javier quickened his pace. He needed to warn Earth that the Council wasn't waiting anymore. Their plans had changed, and humanity had even less time to prepare than they thought. In her office at Earth Defense Headquarters, Admiral Chen reviewed Javier's transmission with growing concern. But unlike the Council, she wasn't panicking. A slow smile spread across her face as a plan formed in her mind. "Let them come," she whispered. "We'll be ready." The massive Council ship descended through Earth's clouds, its smooth silver surface reflecting the sunlight. It dwarfed the human aircraft, escorting it to the landing site outside Geneva. Crowds gathered behind safety barriers, a mix of fear and wonder on their faces as they witnessed the largest alien vessel ever to land on Earth. Inside the United Earth Defense Headquarters, Admiral Chen watched the live feed with Dr. Okafor and the Security Council. "They're right on schedule," Chen said. "The Council rarely changes their playbook. When direct intimidation fails, they move to Step 2, apparent generosity." The Secretary General looked concerned. "And we're certain about our approach. Accepting their gifts seems risky." Dr. Okafor nodded confidently. "Based on Javier's intelligence and our analysis of their technology, we know exactly what to expect. Their gifts will come with hidden surveillance and control systems. But we're prepared." On the massive screen, they watched as the ship's main hatch opened. 7 alien representatives emerged, each from a different species. The delegation was carefully selected to impress humans with the Council's diversity. At the front walked Ambassador Zix Thrall of the Arcanid Dominion, his forearms holding an ornate case. "Let the show begin," Admiral Chen said quietly. The Great Hall of the United Nations had been expanded to accommodate the Council delegation. Hundreds of human officials and diplomats filled the room, with billions more watching the broadcast worldwide. Ambassador Zix Thrall stepped forward, his translator device converting his clicks and whistles into smooth English. "People of Earth," he began, his voice amplified throughout the hall. "The Galactic Council understands your initial hesitation. All young species face uncertainty when first meeting the galactic community." He opened the ornate case he carried. Inside lay 3 glowing crystals, 1 blue, 1 red, 1 green. "Today we bring gifts to demonstrate our goodwill. This blue crystal contains cures for all known human diseases. The red crystal holds the secrets of unlimited clean energy. And the green crystal offers agricultural technologies to end hunger forever on your world." Murmurs spread through the crowd. Even those who knew the Council's true intentions couldn't help but be impressed. "We ask nothing in return except dialogue," Zix Thrall continued. "These gifts are freely given, with no conditions." Admiral Chen stepped forward to accept the case. Her face was a perfect mask of gratitude and humility. "The people of Earth thank the Galactic Council for these generous gifts," she said, bowing slightly. "We will study them carefully and look forward to future discussions." As the ceremony concluded, Few noticed the slight tremor in Ambassador Zix Thrall's upper left hand. Things were going exactly as planned, yet something felt wrong. 3 weeks later, Dr. Okafor's laboratory had been transformed. The 3 crystals sat in specialized containment fields, while teams of scientists worked around the clock to study them. Just as we suspected, Dr. Okafor said to Admiral Chen, as they observed from behind safety glass. Each crystal contains amazing technology but also sophisticated monitoring systems and backdoor controls. She pointed to a holographic display showing the internal structure of the blue crystal. This would indeed cure diseases, but it would also allow them to introduce new pathogens remotely if they wished. The energy crystal has a kill switch they could activate at any time, and the agricultural system would make us dependent on certain compounds that only they could provide. Admiral Chen nodded. Classic colonial tactics: create dependency, then exploit it. She turned to Dr. Okafor. How's the modification coming? A rare smile crossed Dr. Okafor's face. Better than expected. We've managed to isolate the beneficial technologies while neutralizing the control systems. But the best part is that we've reverse-engineered the basic principles. We're not just copying their technology, we're improving it. She led Admiral Chen to another section of the lab where a team was working on what appeared to be a modified version of the red energy crystal. This prototype generates 30% more energy than the Council version with better stability. We've had similar results with the medical technologies. Admiral Chen looked impressed. How long until we can implement these technologies? We're already rolling out the medical advances to selected hospitals. The energy systems will take another month. We're being careful to keep the pace believable. We don't want the Council to realize what we're doing. Perfect, Chen said. Keep the Council representatives impressed with our gratitude while we prepare what's next. On the Council observation vessel orbiting Earth, Director Krex reviewed the latest reports with growing frustration. The humans are implementing our technologies exactly as expected, he said to Ambassador Zix Thrall, yet our surveillance systems are providing limited data. Something isn't right. The ambassador studied the reports carefully. They appear to be becoming dependent on our gifts. Energy usage patterns show adoption of our systems. Their medical facilities are using our treatments. This is the standard pattern, Director Krex hissed softly, a sign of disagreement in his species. Then explain why they've made no concessions in our ongoing negotiations. By now, most species begin to yield on trade agreements, resource access, or military limitations. Perhaps they need more time, the ambassador suggested. Or perhaps they're playing a deeper game, Krex replied. I'm increasing surveillance and moving up the timeline for Phase 3. Grand Executor Velsha floated alone in her private chamber aboard the Council's massive headquarters station. Unlike the public areas with their impressive crystal architecture, her personal space was spare, almost austere. As the oldest living member of the Council, she had long ago abandoned the need for unnecessary display. A soft chime announced a priority communication. A holographic display appeared showing data streams from Earth. Curious, she whispered to herself. The patterns of technology adoption were standard, yet something about the human response felt too perfect, too predictable. In her thousands of years overseeing the integration of new species, she had developed instincts that transcended data analysis. She accessed the historical archives, searching for similar cases. Over the Council's long history, they had encountered a handful of species that presented unusual challenges. Each case was different, but there were patterns. After hours of research, Velsha sat back, her ancient eyes troubled. She had found what she was looking for. Records of a civilization from 12,000 years ago called the Solari. They too had shown unusual adaptability, and had initially appeared to accept Council gifts with gratitude. 6 months later, they had revealed technologies that should have been beyond their capabilities, and had broken away from Council influence entirely. The Council had eventually subdued them, but at great cost. And now, looking at the reports from Earth, Velsha saw disturbing similarities. She opened a secure channel to her most trusted aide. Prepare my ship. I will inspect Earth personally. On a secret base beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Chen met with her top military commanders. Holographic displays showed the status of Earth's rapidly advancing defense network. The Council still believes we're struggling to adapt their technology, she explained. Meanwhile, we've already improved their propulsion systems, weapons technology, and communication networks. General Williams, head of the Global Space Force, looked pleased. Our first fleet of hybrid ships is nearly complete, hidden in the asteroid belt just as planned. What about the Council vessels monitoring Earth? Asked the Chinese admiral. They see exactly what we want them to see, Chen replied. Dr. Okafor's team has created a global projection system. From orbit, it appears we're building simple power stations using their technology. In reality, we're constructing advanced defense grids and manufacturing centers. A communications officer interrupted with an urgent message. Admiral, we've just received word from our deep space monitoring stations. A new Council vessel has entered the solar system. Initial analysis suggests it's much larger than any previous ship we've encountered. Admiral Chen's expression remained calm, but her eyes hardened. They're moving faster than expected. Alert all commands. It's time for Phase 2 of our own plan. As the commanders dispersed to their duties, Chen reviewed the latest intelligence from Javier, still embedded with the Kelrathi. His message was brief, but alarming. Grand Executor coming personally. Council growing suspicious. Be ready. Game of Deception was about to get much more dangerous. The red dust of Mars swirled around the entrance to Olympus Base, hidden deep within the massive volcano Olympus Mons. From orbit, it appeared to be nothing more than a small research outpost, exactly what Earth wanted the Council to see. In reality, it was humanity's largest off-world installation, home to over 10,000 scientists, engineers, and military personnel. Kaito Nakamura stood in the main development hangar, watching as workers put the finishing touches on a sleek spacecraft, unlike anything humans had built before. As lead engineer of the Mars Defense Initiative, Kaito had spent the last 6 months applying his unique vision to spacecraft design. "How's our baby doing today?" asked Colonel Rivera, walking up beside him. Kaito smiled. "The Shadow Dancer will be ready for her first test flight tomorrow. Her sister ships are about 2 weeks behind schedule, but we'll catch up." Colonel Rivera nodded, looking at the unusual design of the ship. Instead of the bulky, utilitarian appearance of traditional human spacecraft, the Shadow Dancer was elegant, with flowing lines that somehow reminded him of a martial artist in motion. "I still don't understand how you came up with this design," Rivera said. "I was watching old videos of my grandfather practicing Aikido," Kaito explained. "He always said the core principle was to use your opponent's strength and momentum against them." It got me thinking. What if we designed ships that could do the same thing? He pulled up a holographic display showing simulations of the Shadow Dancer in combat against Council ship designs. Council vessels fight in rigid formations with standardized tactics. Their ships are powerful but predictable. Ours are built to be unpredictable, to flow around attacks and strike from unexpected angles. The simulation showed a Council warship firing energy weapons at the human vessel, which seemed to dance around the beams before sliding into the attacker's blind spot. "We studied every piece of footage we have of Council ships in action," Kaito continued. "They rely on overwhelming force, not adaptation, so we built ships that adapt constantly." Colonel Rivera looked impressed. "Admiral Chen is going to love this. When can we show her?" "She'll be here for the test flight tomorrow," Kaito said. "If all goes well, we'll begin full production immediately." Beneath the ice of Europa, Jupiter's moon, another secret human base had been established. Here the focus was on communications and stealth technology. Dr. Okafor supervised as technicians installed the latest quantum communication arrays, allowing instant secure contact between all human installations throughout the solar system. "Testing. Phase complete," her assistant reported. "The network is fully operational and undetectable by Council scanning technology." Dr. Okafor nodded with satisfaction. "Excellent. Now activate the stealth shield." Outside the base, a shimmer passed across the icy surface as advanced technology created a perfect camouflage. To any observer, the area would appear to be nothing but unbroken ice. With these networks in place, Dr. Okafor said, we can coordinate our forces throughout the system without the Council realizing how far we've spread. Her communication device beeped with a priority message from Earth. The Grand Executor's ship has entered Earth orbit. Admiral Chen is requesting your presence for the reception tomorrow. Dr. Okafor frowned. The head of the Council coming personally? That's troubling. Tell Admiral Chen I'm on my way back to Earth. Commander Phi Lorn of the Mindari species prepared for the most important mission of his career. As leader of the Council's elite investigative team, he had been personally selected by Grand Executor Vel Shah to determine what the humans were really planning. The Mindari were one of the rarest species in the Council, natural telepaths whose abilities made them invaluable for diplomatic and intelligence work. Phi Lorn's team consisted of 6 Mindari, each specially trained to read the thoughts of different species. Remember, he instructed his team as they prepared to board their shuttle to Earth. Human minds may be primitive, but they are complex. Focus on surface thoughts only. Do not attempt deep reading without my authorization. Have you ever read a human mind before, Commander? Asked Savek, the youngest team member. Phi Lorn's silver eyes narrowed. Once, briefly, during first contact. It was unusual. Their thoughts are less organized than most species. Be prepared for strange patterns. As their shuttle departed for Earth, Phi Lorn reviewed what little the Council knew about human psychology. Most species' minds followed predictable patterns, making their thoughts relatively easy to access and interpret. But initial scans of humans had shown surprising variability. It would make their task more challenging, but Phi Lorn had never failed the Council before, and he didn't intend to start now. At the United Nations headquarters in Geneva, Admiral Chen and the world's leaders prepared to receive the Grand Executor. Security was tight, with both visible military presence and hidden defenses ready to activate at the first sign of trouble. Remember, Chen briefed the assembled leaders, the Mindari delegation accompanying the Grand Executor are telepaths. They will attempt to read your thoughts during the meeting. The Indian Prime Minister looked alarmed. How can we defend against that? Dr. Okafor, who had just arrived from Europa, stepped forward. We've developed a technique based on our understanding of Mindari telepathy. Instead of trying to block your thoughts, which would be suspicious, focus on contradictory ideas simultaneously, she explained further. Humans have a unique ability to hold contradictory thoughts in our minds. We can believe one thing logically, while feeling another emotionally. The Mindari find this confusing and difficult to interpret. Admiral Chen nodded. During the meeting, maintain diplomatic courtesy outwardly while focusing your thoughts on both cooperation and caution. Think about the benefits of Council technology while also considering potential risks. This mental static will make it harder for them to get clear readings. Grand Executor Vel Shah's personal shuttle descended toward the United Nations landing pad with an escort of both Council and human aircraft. Inside, the ancient leader's gravity platform hovered gently as she prepared to meet the humans face to face. Your assessment, Director Krex? She asked the reptilian intelligence chief seated across from her. The humans appear to be following the standard integration pattern, Krex replied. They are implementing our technology throughout their planet. Yet, he hesitated. Continue, Vel Shah encouraged. They are too calm, Krex said finally. Every species we have encountered has shown either fear or excessive excitement when meeting advanced civilizations. Humans display neither. They are respectful, but reserved. It is unnatural. Vel Shah had lived long enough to trust instincts as much as data. That is why I brought the Mindari team. Commander Phi Lorn will discover what they are hiding. The meeting between Earth's leaders and the Grand Executor began with formal greetings and expressions of gratitude for the Council's gifts. Admiral Chen watched carefully as Commander Phi Lorn and his team spread throughout the room, their silver eyes moving from one human to another. She noticed the moment the Mindari began to struggle. Phi Lorn's smooth facial features tightened, and he blinked rapidly, signs of concentration or difficulty. The other Mindari showed similar signs of strain. Grand Executor Vel Shah was speaking about the next phase of technological sharing when Philorn suddenly staggered, putting a hand to his head. Two other Mindari collapsed entirely while the rest appeared disoriented. "What is happening?" Vel Shah demanded as Council security rushed to assist the fallen Mindari. Admiral Chen stepped forward, concern on her face. "Do your colleagues need medical assistance? Our doctors are ready to help." Philorn regained his composure with visible effort. "No, thank you. It is simply fatigue from the journey." But his silver eyes met Chen's with new awareness and something that might have been respect or fear. As the meeting continued, Philorn whispered to the Grand Executor, "Their minds contain multitudes. They imagine what does not exist, then bring it into being. We cannot predict them because they cannot predict themselves." For the first time in centuries, Vel Shah felt uncertain. The Council had encountered thousands of young civilizations, but humans were proving to be something new. Perhaps it was time to reconsider their approach. Meanwhile, far away in the asteroid belt, the first fleet of human hybrid ships, led by the Shadow Dancer, powered up their engines and prepared to change the balance of power in the solar system forever. The Council warfleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 50 massive battleships arranged in perfect formation, accompanied by hundreds of smaller support vessels. It was the largest military force the Council had deployed in over 1,000 years. On the flagship's command deck, Fleet Commander Draz reviewed the battle plan one final time. A veteran of dozens of pacification actions, he had absolute confidence in the overwhelming superiority of Council forces. "Our intelligence shows Earth has developed basic orbital defenses using our gifted technology," he informed his officers. "Nothing that can stand against our fleet. We will bypass their outer system monitors using stealth technology, then deliver a swift, decisive strike on their primary military installations." He displayed a holographic map of Earth, highlighting key targets. "Once their leadership realizes resistance is futile, they will accept our terms. Standard protocol for divergent species." The officers nodded in agreement. None questioned the plan. None imagined it could fail. In a hidden command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Chen received the alert from deep space monitoring stations. "Council fleet detected entering the system," the officer reported. 50 capital ships plus escorts, approaching in standard attack formation. Chen smiled slightly. "Right on schedule, exactly as Javier warned us." She turned to her communications officer. "Signal all commands. Operation Checkmate is now active." Throughout the solar system, hidden human installations sprang into action. On Mars, Kaito Nakamura gave the launch command for the stealth fleet. On Europa, Dr. Okafor activated the quantum defense grid. On Earth, military forces moved to predetermined positions, while civilian populations headed to shelters. Unlike the panic that might have accompanied such actions months ago, there was now a quiet confidence among Earth's defenders. They had prepared well. The Council fleet moved steadily inward through the solar system, passing Jupiter without incident. Commander Draz was pleased by the lack of resistance. Clearly, the humans had no idea they were coming. "We'll reach Earth orbit in 6 hours, his navigation officer reported. No sign of... A sudden alarm blared through the command deck. "Multiple unknown vessels detected," the sensor officer shouted. They're all around us." Commander Draz stared in disbelief as the tactical display updated. Where moments before space had appeared empty, now hundreds of sleek vessels surrounded his fleet. They had seemingly appeared from nowhere. "Impossible," he whispered. "Our sensors are the most advanced in the galaxy. Nothing could hide from them," but the evidence was undeniable. Somehow the humans had developed stealth technology beyond anything the Council possessed. "Open communications," he ordered. "Demand their surrender immediately." Before his communications officer could comply, the unknown vessels began to move. Unlike the rigid formations of Council ships, they flowed like water, constantly changing patterns in ways that defied tactical analysis. "They're targeting our command and control systems," the weapons officer reported, voice rising in alarm. Firing patterns are unpredictable. Our countermeasures can't keep up. Commander Draz watched in growing horror as ship after ship reported system failures. Not catastrophic damage, these weren't devastating attacks. Instead, the human vessels were surgically disabling weapons, engines, and communications with precise strikes. "Launch all fighters," he ordered. "Full defensive protocols." But the fighters found themselves pursuing targets that seemed to anticipate their every move, leading them away from the main fleet before disappearing from sensors entirely. Within an hour, half the Council fleet hung dead in space, disabled but with crews unharmed. The other half struggled to maintain formation as the human vessels danced around their defenses. Commander Draz, his confidence shattered, opened an emergency channel to Grand Executor Vel Shah on Earth. "We are under attack by superior forces. Request immediate instructions." In the United Nations meeting hall, Grand Executor Vel Shah received the distress call during ongoing negotiations with Earth's leaders. Her ancient face revealed nothing, but Ambassador Zix Thrall could sense her shock. "Is something wrong, Grand Executor?" Admiral Chen asked politely. Before Vel Shah could respond, the large display screens in the hall activated, showing live footage of the space battle. The Council delegation watched in stunned silence as their mighty fleet was systematically disabled by vessels that moved with impossible grace. "This is not possible," Director Krex hissed. "Those ships use technology beyond human capability." "Do they?" Admiral Chen asked. "Or did we simply improve upon what you shared with us?" Understanding dawned on Ambassador Zix Thrall's face. "The gifts, you didn't just accept them, you mastered them and improved them." "Precisely," Dr. Okafor confirmed, stepping forward. "Your technology was impressive, but your implementation was inefficient. You've been collecting innovations from other species for so long that you've forgotten how to truly innovate yourselves." Grand Executor. Vel Shah's gravity platform rose slightly, a sign of agitation in her species. "You deceived us." "Just as you deceived us," Admiral Chen replied calmly. "Your gifts contain surveillance and control systems. Your peace offers hid plans for resource extraction. We simply played the same game, but better." On the screens, the last of the Council's battleships went dark, its weapons and engines disabled by precision strikes. On the Council's headquarters station, political chaos erupted as news of the military disaster spread. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered in emergency session, many openly questioning the leadership of the original five for the first time in millennia. "How could humans defeat our most powerful fleet?" demanded the Talari ambassador. "What other errors has the Council leadership made?" asked the Vondar representative. Ancient rivalries bubbled to the surface as the Council's carefully maintained image of inevitability and invincibility crumbled. Species that had harbored resentments for centuries now found their voices. In a private chamber away from the tumult, Ambassador Zix Thrall made the most difficult decision of his life. Breaking thousands of years of tradition and protocol, he initiated a private communication channel to Admiral Chen on Earth. "I wish to speak with you," he said, when her face appeared on the screen. "Not as a Council representative, but as someone who wants to prevent further bloodshed." Chen studied him carefully. "I'm listening." "The Council you have encountered is not what it once was," Zix Thrall explained. "It is a puppet, controlled by the original five, the founding species who created the Galactic government eons ago. They have manipulated thousands of civilizations for their own benefit." He transmitted a secure data packet. "This contains the truth about Council history and the location of the original five's private retreat. I believe humanity may be the force that finally breaks their control." "Why are you telling me this?" Chen asked. Zix Thrall's four hands moved in a gesture of resignation. "Because I have seen enough subjugated worlds, and because I believe you humans might create something better." Meanwhile, in her laboratory on Earth, Dr. Okafor stared at ancient star charts recovered from the Council database. They showed Earth's location, but with markings dating back 100,000 years, long before humans had developed civilization. "This can't be right," she muttered, cross-referencing with genetic studies her team had been conducting. The evidence was pointing to an incredible conclusion. Humans were not native to Earth. They had been seeded there long ago by an unknown race. The unique evolutionary pressures of Earth had shaped humanity into something the Council had never encountered before. A species combining technological aptitude with creativity and unpredictable behavior patterns. As she looked deeper into the data, Dr. Okafor found references to a mysterious species known only as the Architects, who had apparently vanished after challenging the original Five's control of the galaxy. Could humans be their legacy? A final move in a game played across thousands of years. She needed to tell Admiral Chen immediately. The stakes had just become much bigger than Earth's independence. As the disabled Council fleet drifted in space, Kaito Nakamura piloted the Shadow, dancer around the massive vessels, marveling at their size and power. Yet, for all their technological might, they had fallen to human ingenuity and adaptability. His communication system chimed with a message from Earth. It was Admiral Chen, and her expression was grave. Kaito, prepare your fleet for immediate deployment. Dr. Okafor has discovered something that changes everything. She paused. We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for the future of the galaxy. Kaito nodded, feeling the weight of history shifting around them. The fleet is ready, Admiral. Just give the word. As the Shadow Dancer turned toward Earth, the stars seemed to burn brighter, as if watching the birth of something new in the ancient patterns of galactic politics. The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Council chamber had never felt so tense. Representatives from hundreds of species filled the room, their usual orderly discussions replaced by angry shouts and accusations. News of the human victory over. The Council fleet had spread throughout the galaxy, shattering the myth of Council invincibility. In the center of the chamber, the original Five, the ancient founding species who had secretly controlled the Council for millennia, gathered in a tight group. They were rarely seen in public, preferring to work through proxies and puppets. Now, forced into the open by the crisis, they radiated cold fury. Order! We must have order. The voice of Zorvex, eldest of the original Five, echoed through the chamber. Unlike most Council species, the original Five had not changed their appearance in countless generations. They resembled tall, slender humanoids with skin that shimmered like oil on water and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. This human problem will be resolved, Zorvex continued. A single defeat means nothing. We have ruled this galaxy for 50,000 years. We will continue to do so. Many representatives nodded in agreement, conditioned by eons of obedience, but others remained silent, watching carefully, sensing that something fundamental had changed. Suddenly, the massive screens around the chamber activated on their own. Security officers rushed to shut them down, but their controls no longer responded. A collective gasp filled the room as human figures appeared on every screen. Admiral Chen, Dr. Okafor, and their diplomatic team. They appeared as perfect holograms, standing as if physically present in the Council chamber. Greetings, representatives of the Galactic Council, Admiral Chen said calmly. We apologize for this unusual entrance, but traditional channels were unavailable to us. This is an outrage, Zorvex shouted. How dare you invade our sacred chamber? Dr. Okafor stepped forward. We dare, because the time for secrets and manipulation is over. For too long, the original Five have controlled this council, using it to exploit thousands of worlds while pretending to offer peace and prosperity. Using technology adapted from the Mindari telepaths, the human team began, broadcasting not just to the council representatives but to all member species simultaneously. Across countless worlds throughout the galaxy, beings of all kinds watched as humans revealed the truth that had been hidden for millennia. Chen gestured, and data began flowing across the screens, records of resource extraction, species manipulated, and ruined, cultures slowly suffocated under council protection. We discovered your methods when you attempted to use them on Earth, Chen explained. But we were fortunate. We saw through the deception. How many others never had that chance? The chamber erupted in chaos as representatives demanded answers. From the original 5. Species that had suffered under council rule for generations found their voices, inspired by the human example. Sensing their control slipping away, 3 of the original 5 activated hidden devices on their wrists. Deep within the council station, ancient systems began to power up. Fail-safes designed to destroy the entire station rather than allow the original 5 to lose control. "If we cannot rule," whispered Zorvex to his companions, "then let this rebellious council burn." But the original 5 had not counted on Javier Reyes. After months infiltrating council systems, the human linguist had discovered and neutralized these fail-safes weeks ago. When the original 5 triggered the self-destruct sequence, nothing happened. Confusion spread across their ancient faces as Javier appeared on the screens beside Admiral Chen. "Looking for these?" he asked, displaying the disconnected control circuits. "Sorry to disappoint you, but Earth doesn't accept your resignation letter." As the original 5 were surrounded and detained by representatives of the species they had manipulated for so long, Admiral Chen addressed the council again. "We could have destroyed your fleet completely," she said. "We could have left you in chaos. Instead, we offer a different path." Dr. Okafor stepped forward. "Our research has uncovered references to an ancient species called the architects who once challenged the rule of the original 5. We believe they seeded humans on Earth as part of a long-term plan to eventually bring balance to the galaxy." She displayed star charts showing Earth and several other worlds. "Whether this is true or not, we now stand at a crossroads. Humanity offers neither conquest nor submission, but partnership, a restructuring of galactic governance based on genuine cooperation rather than hidden control." Many council species, long aware of their subservient position, but too afraid to challenge it, responded with enthusiasm. Others, beneficiaries of the old system, responded with hostility. But all recognized that a fundamental change was inevitable. In the aftermath, a new interstellar alliance began to form. The old council chamber was renamed Unity Point. Its crystal architecture reshaped to allow all representatives equal positions rather than the hierarchical arrangement of the past. Humanity played a key role not due to technological superiority or military might, but because of their unique perspective, their ability to imagine different futures and work collaboratively while maintaining their independence. 3 months after the confrontation at the council chamber, Admiral Chen stood on the observation deck of Unity Point with Ambassador Zixthral. Below them, representatives from hundreds of species worked together to draft the new charter that would govern galactic relations. "Your people have accomplished the impossible," Zixthral said, his 4 hands moving in a gesture of respect. "In less than a year, you've transformed a system that has stood for 50,000 years. Chen smiled. "Not transformed, not yet. We've only begun the real work." "I've wondered something," the ambassador said. "Why did humans really reject peace when it was first offered? You couldn't have known the council's true nature then." Chen turned to look out at the galaxy spread before them. Billions of stars, countless worlds, infinite possibilities. "We didn't reject peace," she said. "We rejected surrender disguised as peace. True peace can only exist between equals who respect each other's right to choose their own path. That's what we fought for. Not just our freedom, but eventually, yours too." Back on Earth, Dr. Okafor continued her research into humanity's mysterious origins. In her laboratory beneath Geneva, she studied ancient artifacts recovered from council archives. Each piece added to the puzzle, suggesting that humans had indeed been part of a grand strategy conceived by the architects. Her latest discovery was particularly intriguing. A star map showing regions of the galaxy that had never been explored by the council. Within those uncharted areas, symbols matching those found in ancient human DNA sequences appeared repeatedly. "They're still out there," she whispered to herself. "The architects, waiting to see if their creation would fulfill its purpose." She activated her communication device. "Admiral Chen, I think I've found something. A direction, a beginning." As the call connected, Dr. Okafor looked at the spinning galaxy map and smiled. Humanity's journey among the stars had only just begun, and the greatest adventures still lay ahead. In the vast darkness between stars, ancient forces stirred. The game that had begun 100,000 years ago was entering its final phase. Humanity had passed the first test. Now, greater challenges and greater wonders awaited. And somewhere beyond the edge of known space, the architects watched with satisfaction as their children took their first steps toward their cosmic destiny.